When did you realize your family wasn't who you thought they were? I thought my mom married a total badass. When I was 15, I had pretty much given up hope that I'd have a dad, or any reliable male role model for that matter. I was the son of a single mom archetype, overworked myself in school while maintaining 25 hours a week at a local job, took care of my younger brother Mikey while my mom was sick or at work. My biggest dream was to retire my mom so she'd never have to work again. But then, it all came crashing down, because my mom met a wonderful man named Troy. He was extremely kind, and after just a few months of dating, I finally stopped beating myself up for not being a perfect man of the house anymore. He's still the only reason why I know how to ride a bike, and Mikey loved him even more than I did. Troy taught him how to do math without making him cry, a skill I never learned, and even took the role of bringing him to school every day. Meanwhile, my mom's skin was glowing even more. She genuinely looked beautiful. It truly was the calm before the storm. As we got to know him, the picture-perfect thing faded. I found out he already had another family that he'd left, as well as a son who was around my age, but I loved him regardless, because what is family if not accepting each other's imperfections, right? Well, this ended up backfiring hard, because one day when I was in senior year studying for exams, I got a text on Facebook. It was from this guy claiming to be my half-brother, so I scoured his page and saw my dad, or I guess you could say our dad, had been in his profile picture at some point. After establishing our mutual biological connection, I found out he had an ulterior motive for texting me. He started off by asking me if I knew what kind of man our father was. I figured he was just salty that my dad left him for a hotter wife, so I replied saying, "More than you do, buddy." I was really immature back then, I know. Some part of me wanted his response to be something feisty, something I could argue with, but it wasn't. It was something much, much darker. He sent dozens of court documents. They were all about a man named Henry, who had been charged after stealing the innocence of his wife and his 5-year-old son. I figured that my half-brother was just as immature as me, so I didn't read much into it and told him that he was an effing weirdo for sending me that poop. But as soon as I exited out of the court documents and read his text, my heart dropped. He said the words that changed my life forever, in the worst way possible. Henry is our dad's name, the one he changed to after prison. I fought the urge to throw up into the garbage can beside me. Needing to know more, I reread the documents. The timeline all added up. He had met my mother just 6 months after leaving prison, but that wasn't all. After he had been caught stealing their innocence, an investigation was launched. On his hard drive were dozens of footage of, well, you know, except it wasn't just from kitty fiddling websites. They were home movies that he had made, with him and unclothed innocent beings crying out for help. That time, I couldn't hold back. I threw up onto the keyboard. This was the man my mom had brought into our lives? The man that was doting on Troy? I knew there was no way my mom knew, so I had to decide what to do with the information. But it was practically impossible to think straight. My head was spinning so hard I thought the room had been turned upside down, and that's when I heard it. The door creaked open. I spun around in my chair and was faced with Henry looming over me and my computer screen. I knew there was no point fumbling to hide it. Plus, I was bigger than him, so it's not like he could have forced me to do anything like he had with my half-brother. His face went red. I swear, I've changed since then, please. His eyes were filled with so much fake innocence. When I looked at his trembling hands, all I could picture was what he had done to those kids, what I had seen him do. I quickly exited out of all the tabs, got up, and knocked him to the floor. As he began to cry, I couldn't help but laugh. I still remember the sound of his ribs cracking under my boots. It was satisfying, like ASMR, but then I heard my mom come home. "Honey, I think my son is on to us," she yelled, not knowing I was right upstairs. The rest of the full video is on my channel and